hear more from voices on the ground. Reena Pushkarna, a chef and an owner of a tandoori restaurant in Israel. I believe she may actually have a series of restaurants. We'll check in with her in just a second. She's an NRI. She's with us this evening to tell us more about what's taking place. Reena, thank you for taking out time. Reena, could you first tell us where in Israel you are located, where the restaurants you run are located in Israel?
Well, I live in a suburb of Tel Aviv called Herzliya Pituach, and I have restaurants all over Israel.
Okay.
I'm here actually to tell you about the plight of all the citizens of Israel who are facing an onslaught in the borders on the south, and the more than 100,000 diaspora, Indian diaspora, live in those areas of Sderot, Ashkelon, Ashdod, Yavne, and it's a terrible mess over here. It's a terrible mess. The citizens of Israel were the ones to face the onslaught of the Hamas slaughter of the citizens. It's crazy what is happening here. They've been going house to house. They've been going in all the kibbutz. There was a music festival taking place in Israel. About 100,000 youngsters were in that musical festival, and they've taken over. I think half of them have been killed. Half of them have been taken as hostages into Gaza by the Hamas terrorists, which is unbelievable. I've been 40 years in Israel. Something like this never ever took place. I know that there is a disaster on both ends, but this was an onslaught which is unforgivable. The world needs to stand with Israel and support Israel, because you have mothers, you have fathers, you have children crying on TV to anchors, giving the exact location of their children from their telephones. You had an 85-year-old lady on her wheelchair taken as a hostage and taken into Gaza. Come on. This is inhuman what is happening over here. The government has been trying to help all the citizens. They've been trying to calm people, but the war is still going on in the south. We have opened our homes to all our Indian brothers and sisters. I know I can give them full board and lodge till everything is settled. But the world needs to stand up and support Israel with this onslaught of the Hamas terrorists to simple Indians. There are a lot of foreign workers taken into as hostages, Nepalis, some Indian citizens. Come on, everybody's not soldiers here.
Ma'am, can I ask you, yesterday we spoke to reporters on the ground in Tel Aviv. We spoke to some residents in Tel Aviv who told us that yesterday they were in bomb shelters the whole day. That continues to be the situation today?
Yes. We have been in and out of bomb shelters. At 3 o'clock in the night, there was a direct hit on a hospital in Israel. Their direction of bombs are coming all over Tel Aviv. I have a lot of Indian workers working with me, and we are all in and out of bomb shelters. It's a situation that you really, and apart from facing the rockets, you have the terrorists roaming around with their guns, killing people mercilessly. That's not done. Not in Israel.
Can I ask you, Reena, just if you could tell the audiences that are watching you right now in India, what is the information you're receiving from the Israeli government like? Because one of the very terrifying things that you've told us about right now is that there are terrorists that could possibly be anywhere. So what kind of information is there about that? How do you navigate moving around Tel Aviv right now?
You are not moving around. There don't seem to be cars on the streets unless you have an emergency situation. Mothers are in and out of hospitals and morgues searching for their children who had gone for this music festival. You have fathers who are retired, who are going who are running across trying to save their children. Uh, uh, the terrorists infiltrated army base and they took over. They've been wearing the uniforms of the Israeli army, and you can't detect them. So we've been told to stay indoors because you don't know if it's the Israeli army knocking on your door or if it's a terrorist come to get you.
And can you tell us a little bit more right now, ma'am, about the messaging that you've been seeing, the political messaging from the Prime Minister? What has his voice been urging in the last few hours?
The Prime Minister has been trying to tell the citizens to stay strong, that it is an onslaught, it was unexpected, and it was a holy holiday of Israel, a Shabbat day. And at 6:30 in the morning, when the alarms and sirens sounded all over Israel, we were all in our bomb shelters. But the hostage taking and the killings took place so fast that it was impossible to the army to get there in time. They say 350 people have been killed and more than 2,000 badly injured. But I think the toll is going to go more higher.
Can you, ma'am, let me just ask you one last question. Can you tell me, because we are also receiving reports that overnight the Gaza Strip also saw the hailing down of missiles. The Gaza Strip itself has about 2 million people. Some are obviously civilians. We know that most of the Israeli military action has been directed towards Hamas offices, Hamas administration. But we also are learning that civilians may have died. Can you tell us what that sentiment is like?
As you are aware, as you are aware that Hamas fires from residential areas.
Right.
Hamas does not care about their family and their citizens like Israel cares for every citizen of their country, whether they be Indian, they be African or Russian. They are firing from residential areas, and that's where the retaliation is taking place. Growing up in India, you grow up as friends and family of all religions. So many Arabs worked with me as dishwashers, as cleaners in my restaurants. There are poor people suffering on both sides. I agree. But Israel is not a terrorist organization. Hamas is a terrorist organization. And they are killing people mercilessly, not even caring for their own, because they knew there would be an onslaught. And this time we are all behind the government saying that mere bombings cannot be taking place, because in another few years they will be back. So something has to be drastically done and change, and the Gaza Strip, which was given back, has to come back in the threshold of the Israeli government.
Okay, ma'am, thank you so much for taking out time, especially at a moment like this. That is Reena.
Thank you again.
Thank you for
Thank
speaking
you
to us.
again. Please ask the world to support Israel at this stature. All the civilians need the hugs and the comfort. All the mothers, all the grandmothers need prayers. Please help.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for joining us.